Welcome to the Men of Honor podcast. My name is Corey, and today we're going to be talking about something that is very important in terms of relationships and the reason why many relationships don't work. And this is one of the things that is, and when I talk about relationships, I'm not talking about it just only in the context of a romantic relationship, but I'm talking about relationships in terms of even in your family and also your friend groups. That is, you have to have some level of intimacy where you can open up and be real, because when you can do that, then you have more fulfilling relationships. When you have more really fulfilling relationships, then you feel fulfilled, and then in turn you're happier and you live in your authentic self. And in the Men of Honor, we call it life by design. So it's becomes very important for you to be able to deal with this. And this thing is resentment, and nobody has a clue on how to deal with it. It's one of those things that if before going forward, if you suffer from a resentment that you do not like your spouse, you do not like people, you always find things to contend or be contentious about people, it means that you harbor quite a lot of resentment, and that manifests itself within your relationships. And you're easy to anger, quick to judge, and all stuff like that. You probably can already understand where I'm coming from with this and how it can impact your relationships. Now, it's not a bad thing to have resentment, because resentment is there in us as human beings in order to preserve ourselves. So it's a self-preservation behavior that we have. So, for instance, if I hurt my wife, she will harbor a bit of resentment because she wants to protect herself from being hurt again. So up until that I deal with my resentment and she deals with her resentment, we end up having blocks. Now, that's just in the context of your relationships. You got to bear in mind that we also have resentment that is being built up from our family of origin. And I heard this somewhere, where your family of origin, you harbor a resentment. And there's this term I'm beginning to coin, which is called resentment stacking. So by the time you get married, you got resentment stacking, not just with your marriage, but with your friendships and the situations that were involved in with school. And it ties in with some of the trauma stuff that I've spoken about as well. So it becomes very important that it's important for you to have a healthy way of having resentment, which is to protect yourself. But you do that for such a period up until you deal with the actual thing that has caused you to go get that resentment. Because the more you hold on to it and the more you stack on it, the harder it is to experience life in freedom. So it becomes very important to be able to deal with this, and it's one of the major things that ends up causing a lack of intimacy within a relationship, a lack of sex within a relationship, which is majorly important. And this is what causes sexless marriages, because of course, there's other things like, the man, if she's rushing to have an orgasm and she's not, if she doesn't feel fulfilled within the thing of the relationship, it's also a factor. But a lot of it stems from, the trauma and the harboring of resentment. When you harbor resentment, it ends up being the thing that blocks your process of feeling that intimacy and growing intimately. So I just thought I'll point this out because it's something that I was learning, and I was listening to a few YouTube videos, and I thought this is quite interesting, and it's something that I can highlight for you guys. As I'm learning, I'm going to go even deeper with this, because I'm finding it quite fascinating in terms of why it's so widespread, but nobody talks about it. It's something that even I see that even my kids, that they harbor it, and it's something that would have caused as parents and stuff like that. So it's stuff that I would now want to start talking about with my kids and start trying to give them a step-by-step guide in order to, start dealing with stuff like that. So in future, they can live a life of freedom. Because a lot of people in the world, especially now with the COVID-19, and the actual political landscape. So if you look at America, they're coming up to the elections with Donald Trump and Biden. I'm not affiliated to any of them. The political unrest over there is to do with racism. Now, I don't think everybody's racist over there. I think a lot of it is just the fact that a lot of people are unhappy and they've faced something, a pandemic, which has made us see that we are vulnerable as human beings. We can be literally wiped out. And it's causing everybody to want to feel affiliated to something, to connected to something, and whether it's a negative feeling of racism or whether it's a gathering as in part of a race, everybody's wanting to be attached to something. And if you see the negative ones that are coming out, it's coming out from this place of resentment that they've had issues in the past that has been not resolved. And it's not just an issue that's cropped up now. This is generational. This is embedded within the nation. So it's one of those things that it still hasn't been resolved. And this is why it's every 40 years, every 50 years, it pops up in a certain way, in different ways. And within a relationship, this will happen that you might feel like you've resolved an issue, but if that resentment has not been resolved, it just pops out itself in a different point and in a different thing. And it's almost like it takes a different form every single time up until you actually confront that monster in the closet. That you have to confront it and say, I see you, monster, get the fuck out. So it becomes very, sorry for my French, but I think it's I'm feeling quite passionate about this because it's so important. And this is where a lot of families and a source of a lot of hurt within people, and this is the reason why nobody can experience true happiness, and we find ourselves medicating ourselves from trying to escape pain. And we're, whether it's Netflix, whether it's television, whether it's food, whether it's I personally food, stuff like that. I try and escape all this pain. Now I'm really beginning to think of some of the things that I've been holding in terms of resentment, and why I'm not maybe some things that are within my life, and some of the things that I might need to deal with in order to actually start experiencing that fullness of happiness and not be escaping the things that have hurt me or whatever. So again, usually I don't script this, so I'm just saying what's on my mind, things that I'm learning in terms of, and things that I think is beneficial for some men in order to have that life that they can live, which is by design, and they'll be truly happy. And if you want to learn more about this, please join the Men of Honor Facebook group, where you'll be able to get more information about this and get some support from men, and also get your life by design. So you start living your life by design. If you're a woman and you're listening to this, a man that might need this, please just send them to the Men of Honor Facebook group, and hopefully I'll be seeing you guys soon. So thank you very much for listening, and my name is Corey, and I hope to see you soon on the Facebook group. Thank you very much.